Another inspirational event will be starting on Sunday, which is the Masters Series, as I remember it, the Barclays ATP World Finals. What are your thoughts looking ahead to that event?
Well, the Barclays ATP World Finals is going to be a fantastic event. I mean, there's no doubts about it. I mean, it's the best 8 in the world, singles, and then there's the doubles teams as well. So, and you know what? It's about as open as I can remember a tennis event being for a long time. It's a great sign for men's tennis, and lucky for London and for the O2 for this event. The first time here is that anybody can win it, and I really don't know who to pick. I mean, you can never really write Roger Federer off, of course, but he's not, clearly the best player at the moment. So it could be Djokovic, could be Murray, it could be somebody else for that matter. I mean, they're all great players, and I couldn't pick a winner, so I'm not going to.
I mean, in a way, for Murray, do you think he's a bit unfortunate he's playing in an era where there are so many great players, make him harder for him to have that individual success?
Look, there's always great players in every era. You know, there's the 80s had just almost a dozen great players who came through, and this for the last few years has been the Roger show, then the Roger and Rafa show, and now there's a couple of more players involved. So. He's improving all the time. I don't think he's going to get a better opportunity than the next couple of years, that's for sure. He's got some of the world's all-time great players to come up against.
And to win an event like this, how would that compare to winning a Grand Slam?
Well, it's not a Grand Slam. A Grand Slam's a Grand Slam, but it is, it's a fantastic event. It's a different event of its own. It is the best 8 players in the world, so it's not an event that you have once a year, and if you're lucky enough, you get a chance to play it. So it's a very, very special event to win and to play in, for that matter.
So amongst the players, you would gain a lot of respect in the locker room if you've got that type in your bag.
Well, of course you would. But it's just an honour. It's an honour in many ways just to be there, to be one of the 8 best players in the world, and it's a fantastic feeling. I remember going there and standing up with the players that I was against, and it was a real honour to be out there and play against them, and be able to pull that off would be even a greater achievement for Andy.
We're here in South London at this Barclays initiative with the tennis hall in quite a deprived area of South London. Do you think a facility like this could help produce a top British player from a sort of inner suburban area?
The problem with inner city tennis is that there's the room factor, and if we've got a couple of tennis courts here, that'll feed that'll have a few kids on the court, but to have a hitting wall, any kids can come down anytime they like with a ball. And a racket, or if they get a racket, and they can play against the wall themselves any time throughout the day and afternoon or whatever, or a mate and hit the ball. And so that's the most important thing, is to get the rackets in kids' hands and give them an opportunity at least to play tennis, to do some exercise. You never know where a champion lays. They're quite often we see champions kicking soccer balls around. If they had the tennis racket in their hand, they could be a Wimbledon champion.
Is that down to individuals and parents, or is it down to the tennis authorities to make that happen?
Well, I think it's really down to the tennis authorities to help with the grassroots tennis. That hasn't been happening, so other people are doing it, including Barclays and various other people. So, everybody's sort of in a way pitching together, a wall like this in a city circumstances is just perfect. The two countries I'm familiar with, Australia and Britain, are both falling quite far behind, actually, I would say, what I would expect them to do for the grassroots, for the kids, for the schools, and for the kids who live don't have tennis clubs to join. Unfortunately, there's just not enough being done for them. But having said that, they're also working at it, so it's all moving in the right direction. And in Australia, we've lost a lot of our tennis champions to other sports, and that's been happening here for years and years and years. But it's changing.